Call meeting to order. We'll start with the
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Trustees meeting at 1 p.m. I'll ask the Secretary of Treasurer to call the roll.
Scott Horowitz.
Here.
Ed Warner, President. Chip Marin.
Here.
Joe McLaughlin.
Here.
Matt Parsons.
Present.
Okay.
President.
Just for information, the next work session that the trustees are going to have will be on Monday, September 3rd, 9:30 a.m., followed by our general session at 1 o'clock. We do have some communications. I'd like to make a motion to dispense with reading.
I will second that.
Seconded by Trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you do have a discussion on today, Trustee Warner, for Far Pond Dredge Project.
Yes, we do. An update on what we're working with the county. I see County Legislator Welker's here. Us, the trustees, the county, DEC, and all the community have been working on a project at Far Pond. Basically, it's taking the material that we're going to be dredging out of the channel and putting it in the end of Far Pond Road in front of the rock revetment. We're also coupling that with the dredging at a middle pond, which there's quite a lot more material than there was the last time they did a dredging. Putting that on top of the material that's going to be placed at a Far Pond, allowing the public hopefully to access the beach east of the rock revetment at 72 Far Pond, allowing more beach use for the public. This is going to be a temporary one-time project. It's going to be evaluated by the trustees and the DEC and also the county to see if it's something that's worthy to continue on the next dredging cycle. As we know that the area in front of Far Pond Road and the rock revetment has been badly eroded over decades because of the wave reverberation off the rock revetment, which the trustees and the DEC permitted. It's something with the sea level rising and global warming, it's a reality that some of the beaches that we presently have are being lost and washed away, unfortunately. So this is a project, like I said, we had worked with the county and many of the homeowners to hope to come to fruition, which I believe this fall or winter we're going to see the county and their dredge crew down there and doing the deposition site in front of the Far Pond. The survey's already been done by the county. They estimate how many cubic yards of material, which I don't have in front of me, but I did talk to the county dredge coordinator, Scott Hillary, and he said with the material from Middle Pond, like I said originally, it's going to be a much bigger project, so hopefully it will last and the community will be satisfied with the project.
All right, thank you, Ed. So this, I would like to commend also, I know there's some people here from that neighborhood that have, worked tirelessly in getting the focus on that. And there have been many meetings with the county and with the other regulatory authorities on trying to accomplish a project that would check as many of the boxes as possible. And this is the project that we were able to get actually permits for. And like Trustee Warner said, hopefully it works, and hopefully it does over the period of time maintain that better beach access and better protection for the road end and so forth that we're all hoping for.
Yeah, one other thing I'd like to tell the public that it's very unusual for the DEC to allow in-water deposition sites, and this is probably one of the few places, the only one that I know of that they're actually allowing this type of process to happen. So it's a unique set of circumstances with the DEC allowing something that they normally don't do. It's basically filling in tidal wetlands, but historically that was a dry beach back in the 60s and 70s prior to the rock revetment being placed there. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. So I want to thank everybody in the public for especially the community for being very vocal and being very patient with the whole process. I know I started out, it's probably 12 years ago when we had the first conversation. So thank you guys for the community.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
You have a question on it, discussion?
Unless, is there anybody from the
You have
community?
a question on it, discussion?
I just have a
It's about
question.
Far Pond?
Yes, Sandy Schwartz at 59 Far Pond.
Right.
Thank you for, it's been a long haul, we know. I have a question about the spoils being put at the end of the road to the right where we've lost all of our mini forest there and all the trees. Will that help that erosion? All those trees are falling into the water.
Well, it's just gonna be placed in front of the road end as it gets piled up there and we move around to the east around the rock revetment. We'll see how it lays out as far as with the dredge and basically the pipe and everything, how much material they have. We have taken upon ourselves to do some beach scraping there in the past and remove some of the material that has actually gone into the pond and scraped it out. So we're gonna see after the project how all the material lays out. Let a little bit, a month or so go by. Hopefully before plover season, if we need to rearrange some of the material, that might be also a project that we'll undertake.
Because to the left,
Yeah, the plans,
we've
Yeah.
lost, I think there was more, almost an acre of town property there.
Yeah. See,
That's
the
been
plans,
lost.
the plans look like they're approved. It looks like they're spanning a large chunk of the area that you're talking about, is what it looks like.
Yeah.
You have that, the paperwork from,
I would have to look.
yeah, I'm just looking at my records coming from the county. It looks like it's spanning a pretty wide swath of what it is that you are talking about. Again, this was heavily worked on by all the regulatory authorities and got to the point where they would allow this, as Ed is saying, where it's kind of in the water disposal site. There was a lot of attention paid to making sure that it would not interfere with submerged aquatic vegetation in certain parts of that area. But when I look at the records that I have, it is a pretty large swath, and the fact that there's material also coming from the east, there's going to be a lot of cubic yardage there that hopefully should help. So the best we can do is wait for this project to occur. It should be obviously sooner than later. And then as a test project, we're going to see how it fares with all the wave energy that happens over there.
Right,
So
'cause
they've
that's
looked at
town
this-
property that you've lost so much of.
No, I was there this morning. I'm there like on a weekly basis. I've been
I know.
monitoring it. So
Yeah.
hopefully this project will shore up the beach and slow that process down.
A lot of
Any
energy
idea when
there.
this might start?
Soon as possible. We're just waiting for dredge windows to open up, and they're going to be on as soon as possible. Obviously, the county's got a hopscotch all around the county with various different concerns about fish and so on and so forth. So they're working their logistics, but should be sooner than later.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will let them know, I will contact somebody in the community and they can put out a blast when they're gonna come along, okay?
Anybody else want to speak about the Far Pond project? If not, we'll just wait for the crew to arrive and hope for the best.
I have two people on Zoom.
They want to say something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
I just have a question. Is there any intent to line the beach or even the channel with, something to sustain the opening, whether it's mussels, clams, oysters, something to give it some natural hardness to resist erosion in the future?
As of right now, it's only a dredging project. It's not, it doesn't look forward to doing any rocks or any mussels. Unfortunately, the area, the sand is too liquid to utilize any of that, those mechanisms to slow the erosion down. Literally after one storm, it would fill right in with clean sand. As we can see in West Pond, the entrance, I was there today, it's almost completely filled in since the last time they did a dredging. So probably 2,000 cubic yards of material has moved into that waterway in the last 2.5 years.
Anybody else have any questions? Somebody else on Zoom?
No one else on Zoom.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to public portion. I see there's a lot of people here from the public. Please make sure your cell phones are silenced, and you can address the board. 3 minutes? 3 minutes? Okay, so I guess if you could raise your hand, whoever wants to address the trustee board today. Okay. You got to state your name for the record and sign in, and yep, we'll give
Come
you
up
3
to the
minutes.
podium, please.
Wednesday, 3. I think I'm available. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm available.
Oh, here you go. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, I'm happy to see you all here, but not for the reason I'm here. I'm Hope Sander. My husband and I have had a home since 1976 in Shinnecock Hills. And we go to the Cold Spring Beach where the piping plovers are protected, or they were, by strings and signs. And I'm here to say, please keep that protection townwide. And I was really to read the article in the paper last week. Anyone could question birds. They're vital for our identity, as well as what they eat. They consume insects. They protect us from ticks, and they're a treasure. Please don't change any of their protections. If anything, increase them, because some people ignore the strings and drive right over the nests. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Thank you. Orderly show of hands. Anybody else?
Nobody?
Anybody else want to speak in public portion? Now's your chance. Okay, let's see this. Go ahead. I'm gonna let him go, and then you go.
Hi, my name is John DiLeonardo. I am an anthrozoologist, a wildlife rehabilitator, and the executive director of Humane Long Island, Long Island's leading animal advocacy organization. Endangered piping plovers lay eggs during the summer and forage from the dunes to the shores for food. Due to human activity, their numbers have plummeted, with the Endangered Species Act and DEC regulations being their last line of defense. A group of beachgoers, misleadingly claiming that these beaches are inaccessible during the summer months when the plovers are nesting, are seeking to override protections put in place by the town's Endangered Species Program, which is in line with federal regulations, so they can drive their SUVs onto a portion for easier access. Long Island, including Southampton, has no dearth of beaches or beach access. However, threatened and endangered animals are losing their nesting grounds left and right. I appreciate locals standing up to the wealthy and perhaps overprivileged. However, no one is more vulnerable than an endangered species, the last of their kind, struggling to survive in a world where everyone is more privileged than they. Please protect these endangered animals and their babies by keeping SUVs out of their nesting areas. This is essential not only for the protection of animal welfare, but also for setting a humane example for our youths and preserving wildlife for generations to come. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kristen White, and I am a resident of the Township of Southampton. Oh, gosh. And I also am involved in an organization called SABA, which is the Southampton Association for Beach Access. It's not just pertaining to an area that we reference as the picnic area, but it's beach access in the entire township of Southampton. We request that the Southampton Town Trustees investigate alternative management practices in regards to limiting access to the beach during piping plover nesting season. It is our belief and feeling that the residents of Southampton Town bear the brunt of these restrictions, as guidelines adopted in the villages often result of minimal or any closures during these seasons. We understand that the federal government agencies involved in this program provide guidelines and recommendations, and that avenues do exist in which limited access could be opened up to more access. We request that the trustees work with those they serve, who are the freeholders of the township, to find a solution that includes transparency and weighs the interests of all parties involved. On a personal note, I have been a lifelong resident of the town of Southampton, a multi-generational resident of the town of Southampton. And over the last 30, 40, 50 years, it seems to have become a common theme that is maybe not perpetuated by agencies in our town, but certainly not making a lot of means to not support them, that us locals are undereducated, that we do not care about the environment, and that we do not care about protecting anything, and specifically the piping plovers. I'm aghast at that, because everybody who is a year-long resident of Southampton cares deeply about the environment. We have watched our environment be destroyed by overpopulation and overbuilding on a lot of sensitive areas, including the dunes that not only protect these birds, but protect our entire township from the ravages of the Atlantic Ocean. In my lifetime, I have seen all but one of our freshwater ponds become unable to be used recreational for swimming, as well as no wildlife able to be consumed from them or anything else taken from them. So it is not just about the piping plovers. It is that we have sat by and watched a lot of the habitat destroyed in our town. We have houses that buy several acres and then put up deer fences. Where are those deer supposed to go? We have migratory birds that depend on these freshwater ponds that are now heavily polluted to the level of toxicity. So being that we have been painted as people who do not want to protect the birds or the environment is a fallacy, and I hope that maybe we can all work together to not only protect our natural environment, but also protect the things that keep people here, our recreational things. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Please.
The pen is gone. I'll sign later. My name is Stephanie McNamara. Good afternoon. I'm a nearly lifelong resident of Southampton, a graduate of Southampton High School. My 3 children were born at Southampton Hospital, and my late husband was from a multi-generational local family. I'm going to skip a little bit of the part about how Gary Maxway was named that way. I have copies for you, and you can certainly read that. But I want to get to the point of what we would like you as trustees to do to help us as the residents. We all respect the wildlife, and we understand the need to protect endangered species everywhere. We are here today to ask you, our town trustees, to work in collaboration with the town board and the trustees of the Village of Southampton to come up with solutions to protect our way of life in our cherished community of Southampton. These are some of the recommendations I would like to see you handle as our representatives. Meet in collaboration with the DEC and Fish and Wildlife, as you did this morning, on our behalf to come up with a method of both protecting our rights and the wildlife so we can coexist on our beach as we have for generations. Stop making the entire stretch of beach into a nursery beginning in February, March, and April to encourage nesting. Rather, let nature take its course. East Hampton is not required to do this, nor should we. This does not need to happen between Road F and Road G, or the county park for that matter. There are miles and miles of beach to the east where people can walk on the beach, and we need you to focus there. Also, to hire enough staff to monitor the beach with movable fences once the clutch hatches, so as to allow for some, if not all, access monitored on a daily basis, not just weekends. Budget for this accordingly with our tax dollars. Think outside the box. Get some community people, students that need community service, some of us who are in this room, to assist with moving fences as needed, or to do some plover monitoring. There are a lot of us here who would be happy to help with that and be trained to do so. So if we could invest in and use movable mesh fence system to create safe zones from the dune to the shore. If access is limited to smaller areas, so be it, but don't take away the entire beach access for nearly the whole summer as you did this year. Transparency is needed. We knew that a clutch had been hatched around Memorial Day weekend. 35 days later would have brought us to 4th of July access. Instead, it was weeks and weeks of, sorry, access closed due to activity. No daily updates, only weekends. While we don't need to know exact locations of the clutches, have the courtesy to tell us. There's a nest east of Gary Maxway. There's a nest east of the county park, west of the county park. And just give us updates. The clutch was laid on this date so that we can calculate and see for ourselves what the expectation is instead of waiting every weekend with bated breath to see if we're allowed on our beach. There has been no communication whatsoever. And thus our frustration of losing nearly the entire summer on our beloved beach. We got 2 weeks. If a closure needs to occur in a particular section, provide a shuttle at Road G, as you did the very first year that this happened. Again, budget for this with our tax dollars. You can move the gate at Gary Maxway to the top of the entrance so that some parking on a first-come, first-served basis could be accessible there as it is on some of the other roads. Same thing with Road G. Road G is not walkable. The gate at Road G should also be moved further. As discussed this morning from the DEC, the take permit would allow some flexibility. We were under the impression that you had engaged this 5 years ago when Ann Welker first brought it to your attention, and we only just found out a month ago that you never even applied for it. So that's something, again, that can be worked on with the DEC to protect the birds and gain a little bit more access. When this closure first began, the town went to the village beach to gain access for us to other beaches by using our 4x4 permits. We were permitted to park at Road G, but again, it's not accessible for walking on, as well as Agawam on the north side. The following 2 years, when I asked again, I was told that the village needed to add a resolution to make this permissible. I had to go to the village for 2 years to make this happen. I had to ask them to put a resolution on so that we could park there. Understandably, COVID hit and there was a gap. However, this is not my job and it's not my responsibility. The governments need to work together to make this happen on our behalf every year as standard procedure. Having said that, we would like you, our elected officials, to represent us in gaining access to other beaches within the 11968 zip code for 4x4 permits during any closures that occur. Many of my family and friends went to the bathing corp this year in July and August, were parking in the free areas and were ticketed when they shouldn't have been because those were free spots. In the years past when this first started, we were allowed to park.
You're way
there.
over 3.
I know, I'm sorry, I have to, it's a little bit more. So anyway, I know that that's a village issue, but we would like you to represent us to allow us to not have to pay $250 to go to a village beach. It's absurd. You know, we purchase our 4x4 stickers. You need to work with the village to give us access to other beaches in the area.
This community works too hard, and $250 is a hardship for many families. It's about fairness, family, community, our heritage, our traditions, our way of life, and what keeps us locals here. Without us, there is no Southampton. Thank you, and we look forward to you helping us finding a resolution that will benefit all of us, the backbone of this community, as well as the piping plovers. Thank you.
Who else wants 3 minutes? You get 1 minute.
I guess I'll have to raise that. Good afternoon, Francis Adamczewski, 40 West Prospect Street, Southampton. Scott, I owe you an apology for walking out on you during the meeting at the town hall meeting. I apologize for walking out on you when you were speaking. It's not my nature to do that, but
Okay.
you can understand my grief and disgust. But if the picnic area is going to be closed, is there a way we can find a spot down the beach where the plovers aren't to relocate us for that section of the time where the picnic area is closed? Move it down the beach somewhere where the plovers aren't to maybe, you know, give us access to another beach for the time being on the ocean, not Cold Springs or, you know, maybe another ocean beach.
I mean, I think you're aware, we had a multi-jurisdictional meeting this morning,
Yes, I understand.
right? So I think, you know, what would make the most sense based on the fact that there's, a great many people from all the regulatory authorities around the table that are listening carefully and looking at the way the laws are and looking at all the, the data that they have to make their decisions and better guide us on how we comply with federal law and have respect for the environment, have respect for the birds, and also pay attention to the trustees' mission of maintaining maximum public access for all of you and everybody else in a shared resource. I think it would make, a lot of sense if you, address the board with what your questions are. We're not going to have all your answers today. This is a very complex issue.
I understand.
And it's even more complex, as you're aware, because it gets complicated by other issues. So I think what makes sense is ask your questions, board can review.
Well, that's what I'm just suggesting.
Yeah.
Maybe you can give us another area down the beach if there's no plovers
All right.
down the beach to just to give us an area.
Right. Is there something else?
That's it. Is there something
that.
else? Is there another area we could
Right.
relocate down the beach if there's no plovers down, like quarter mile down the beach? Can you give us a little section of that until the time being when the birds are gone, or nesting, when they're gone,
Right.
we can go back?
Right. And we really can't answer that question from sitting here because a lot of the problem is where is the access point?
I
How do
understand.
you get to, right?
I understand.
So let's
I'm just suggesting
Right.
maybe we can find another area down the beach if there's,
okay.
I'm not saying do it, but I'm just
I
asking,
understand.
I'm just suggesting maybe we can find a way. If the plovers are gonna be there, and if they're not somewhere else down the beach, maybe we can go there. Because you know how this beach is, it's my heaven.
Sure.
It's our heaven, I should say, not just mine.
Thanks, Fran.
But thank you.
No
Thank
apology
you.
necessary,
I appreciate
Fran. You're all good.
it. I still do apologize.
You're good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Anybody else that wants to,
Hi, I'm Melissa Hargraves. I am the chairman of the board of the Evelyn Alexander Wildlife Rescue Center. We are the only wildlife hospital in the East End. And I just wanted to comment on what one of the lovely women who spoke before said, and that is to let nature take its course. SUVs are not part of nature. Thank you for your time.
I get these gentlemen in.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Aquino, long resident of Southampton. I'm going to rebuttal that because
Address the board. Just address the board.
Okay.
This is what you gotta do.
Okay. Mr. Horowitz, you made a few comments at the town board a few weeks ago where you said you spoke to Fish and Wildlife each and every day. Franny and I just spoke to that gentleman outside, and he had no idea what we were talking about when we said what's going on with the investigation of the fox that was shot and killed. That would be nature taking its course when we have natural predators that are also coexisting with our plovers. I'm not here to say I'm against plovers. We are trying to coexist with plovers. But the fact that you had said you speak to Fish and Wildlife each and every day, and that gentleman, I understand he's probably just some representative and he doesn't directly work with East agencies. But the fact that he had no idea what we were talking about with a dead fox that clearly had a bullet hole in it upsets a lot of people. Thank you.
Okay, so just to address that for the public's edification, our staff speaks to U.S. Fish and Wildlife on a regular basis. They're in consultation with them over the location of the birds and decision-making to make sure that we don't run afoul of federal law and put us all, including the wildlife, in harm's way, okay? Jurisdiction over people shooting foxes does not rest with the Board of Trustees. We don't have any authority or jurisdiction over that. And my reference is to regularly communicating with U.S. Fish and Wildlife as this staff that administers this program on a regular basis, as opposed to other programs where no birds are there and they shut a beach entirely. We monitor this beach every 3 to 5 days, and they are regularly having conversations with them so that we can get the beach opened a lot faster than in other areas of the township that are not handled by our plover program, that are handled by the county. So the reality is not pertaining to the fox situation, but pertaining to making sure that we're following the federal law and that we're giving everybody the opportunity to get on that beach as quickly as possible, as they pointed out today when they came. And that's why they try and get ahead of the curve, get the symbolic fencing up, get those birds to nest, get them to thrive, and get them to do what they got to do and fly out of here and get us the good statistics that we need. The problem is that they get predated by other natural predators, or other issues occur, and then they try again and they try again. So this is a very complex issue. There are people on every single side of the issues. My position as the president of the trustees is to make sure our program is run with the highest degree of integrity to the best that we possibly can in a non-perfect world. I have to commend the staff and the director for the hard work that they've done in a federal unfunded mandate situation where we're trying to maintain maximum access, but also have respect for all the wildlife and the nature of that beach being used as a shared resource, which includes them. So I appreciate you coming here. Everybody watches these videos. Everybody is around the table now having conversations from the law enforcement folks right down to the regulatory side, so that they see what everybody's concerns are, and they better help provide guidance in terms of how we all peacefully coexist here. So I appreciate you coming down. This lady here, I promise.
Hi, my name is Jane Gill. I've been a resident of the town of Southampton for 40 plus years. I am on the board of the Evelyn Alexander Wildlife Center. I also have been rescuing wildlife for 20 plus years. I wanted to commend the trustees for what I assume they did at Sag Pond. There was a nesting area there that used to get trampled on by the people that did the drumming on Monday night. And I see that the dune was built up, and the plovers, because I watch the nests, I go down there probably 5 days a week, they went more towards the Sag Pond side instead of going towards the ocean, which was good because they stayed away from all the beachgoers, right? So I thought that really worked. I'm not familiar with the picnic area beach, so I can't really speak about that. I myself am a bird photographer, and I drive on the beach in the winter to find the snowy owls. So I understand and appreciate, and lots of my friends drive on the beach regularly, and I'm not opposed to that. I just feel there must be a way that we can work together and people can drive on the beach and the plovers can have their nesting sites. I've been looking at webinars for plovers out in the Great Lakes, in Rockaways. They do a great job over there, managing to get the people in the community involved in helping coexist with the plovers. And I just think that we have that opportunity to do that and to work together as a community, to maybe discourage the plovers for when they come back next year. Here it is, they're gone. Discourage them by letting the grasses grow, putting in shrubs. So then they'll go somewhere else. They're not going to go back to that same area if there's too much shrubbery and things where they don't feel like they can nest. I hope I'm making sense, but I'm just trying to see where we can work together to, to make sure we can all be on the beach and the plovers have a place to nest. They are threatened. They're not endangered yet in New York State. But if we continue the way we're going, they will be. And so that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Anybody else? Okay, right here, and then the young lady, you'll be on deck.
Hello, board. My name is Dan McNamara. I wasn't going to speak at all, but I just wonder if I could ask a quick question. I know it's not questions. I was just wondering about the lawsuit. When do you expect some sort of a thing where that ends and we can actually have like some sort of real discussions?
I don't think that we really should get into that here. That's really just not the appropriate.
Like not an end date, nothing.
I don't. That's just not an appropriate discussion for here.
Okay.
It's just not.
That's all I really had. And Alexander Wildlife, you guys have taken so many animals from me that flew into my doors, customers' pools. I wish we'd be on the same page.
Hello, Akerja Gallagher Kremborg. I'm a Southampton resident. My husband's been a resident his whole life. I just have some questions that I wanted to raise to the board that I recognize might not be able to be answered today. But I was wondering if this board has ever looked into whether the activity surrounding the helicopter landing pad at all impacts the plovers and their nests. I'm not sure, and I just might not have the knowledge. I'm not sure if that area surrounding, I know the plovers nest on the bay side, but I don't know if that area is monitored in the same way as the ocean side is. So that can't be.
It's not been raised as an issue by the folks at U.S. Fish and Wildlife or any of the folks. They're aware of what the proximity is, and it's just a different scenario. The concerns is them getting run over by vehicles is really what the issue is. You can park and you can walk on the beach. You just can't have an unleashed dog running through those areas. It's about vehicles. They get in those little ruts. When you're in the vehicle, you can't see that, and you end up crushing it. So the helicopter has not been. That's not the issue.
I recognize that distinction. I guess my question is more focused on if fencing is considered, under their regulations to somehow impact the birds, cause harassment. I'm not sure how the high-speed winds of the helicopter pad is not also harassing the birds and probably deterring them from nesting there in the first place. So I think that there are some residents that would like this board and the DEC to look into whether the birds are negatively impacted. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not an environmental scientist.
I understand.
But whether they are impacted by that helicopter landing pad.
Believe me, we're consulting with all the regulatory authorities so that we don't run afoul of federal law, because running afoul of federal law will eliminate the entire summer for everybody. We're trying to intercede so that does not occur from one reason or another reason, and that's what we're trying to do. It's a difficult, complex situation, and it's site-specific at times as well. And we're doing the best that we can in a difficult situation, still respecting the fact that we're trying to also, get a bird population to get back to where it needs to be so that they can get off the list, okay? And make it a lot easier for us.
I appreciate that, and I know we all appreciate your hard work, and this situation is extremely complex. I think my questions and some of the other points that were brought up today is that sometimes the focus is a little bit singular on the drive-on access, and I think this is a bigger issue, and some other areas, you know, within the town purview need to be discussed to adequately protect these birds and to adequately represent town residents. So that's where my questions lie. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just like to speak while the public is here. Obviously, this beach is dear to my heart. It's probably one of the #1 reasons that I became a trustee. And the more understanding and education I've gotten on this whole issue of what the complications are that have arisen to make it like, why is this happening August 15th? And I don't want to pass judgment of why this is happening, but the predation early in the season to the eggs in the nest is the major problem. We didn't have quite an issue years ago, but year by year, each time that these nests get whacked, then that means that the parents are actually going to renest, and statistically they are going to lay less eggs on the next nesting, which kind of counteracts the goals of the Fish and Wildlife and the DEC to get a 1.5 rate of increase of population per year. So I think as a community, surely this dogs off the leash issue is a lot bigger issue than we all thought. And I know that there's homeowners that come down with dogs off the leash, but I also know there's people that walk onto that beach and let their dogs loose. So that, along with other forms of predation, is probably the biggest issue we have right now. If you guys want this beach to open like it used to, July, 1st or whatever, that early nest, and I think that's why James is putting his fences up, because we're trying to get these birds through the system and out. But you keep whacking those nests, the parents are just going to keep mating, and that's why we're in the position we are right now. So I'll leave that.
Right.
May I ask one question?
Not from there, you can't, Brandon.
I just want to know how many birds have hatched there this summer? Because last year it was what? How many birds do we have hatched at the picnic area?
13 this year.
13 this year.
Well, 13 fledges, so successfully.
So we're doing pretty good.
in that location.
13 fledglings at this beach is pretty damn good. I mean,
And our report
otherwise-
will be posted like all our other reports on our website once it's finished.
Okay.
You can look at all that.
Okay, cool.
That'll all be on our, I don't have that information with me. You can look at that once it's posted. And you can see last year's.
Doing a great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, a lot of the information about the plovers and their recruitment and how the population is going is on the Fish and Wildlife website too. You can probably get that right from them and see that, we do very well here. Unfortunately, they don't do so well in New Jersey, but these are the two managed areas that are put together. So if we keep up the good work, hopefully we'll bring New Jersey along with us, and eventually we can have the beaches open.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I just had, I guess, a question or a statement. It's basically listening
for the record.
My name is Shannon Bradley. So listening to all the information and taking into consideration all the different points of view from wildlife to residents that also have an interest in wildlife, and then also the board. It seems like, is there a way that all three interests could be put or optimized by putting into effect the plan that you guys talked about, the incidental take? Because if you did that, you'd be protecting yourselves by doing the ultimate that you can to protect the species. You'd be helping the residents by being able to relocate without violating, I think it's Article 6, or by taking without permission the birds and relocating them by filing that permit and putting it into a mitigation plan. And then so that it'd be the birds, the residents, and also sometimes you guys are put in the position where you're being accused of not doing enough, let's say, and that's just me speaking, of accusations I've seen in the newspaper and whatnot. If you did an incidental take plan, it would probably solve the problem for the future as well, of tit for tat, of people going, okay, well, you're taking our beach access, what about the helicopter, pad, or what about this? It's just a way to look at it as an entirety rather than pieces to a puzzle. If you're understanding what I'm trying to get
I
at.
am understanding, and we are understanding what you're saying. It's a lot easier said than done. It's a very complex issue, and it's very expensive, and it hasn't been done here locally.
But I don't want to interrupt.
You have to also have a trade-off somewhere else,
Right, you have to have a mitigation plan where you're going to present how you're going to protect the net or the overall benefit of the plover. You have
It
to
hasn't been
show-
done in New York yet.
It's been done in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
There's a plan. If you take a look at it, they have
know
a
that.
habitat plan.
Yeah.
It's an excellent plan. It definitely enables recreation to take place on the beach, as well as protecting the plover. And then it also gives their townships and their representatives protection, because they're doing the ultimate of what they can to protect the bird. So it's like a full protection for everybody. It's
a full if it's approved, and if you're able to do all of that, and it's about $1.3 million in expense.
But they had all the towns involved and other interests. So we're the town of Southampton. There's a town of East Hampton that would probably be interested. I mean, if you looked at all the different people that made that plan happen, it was the cost was shared. So it's not so put on just Southampton town residents. It's a shared cost of people that share the same interest, because ultimately, if we don't address this in an expedient manner, it's just going to be non-existent, and residents are going to lose out. Maybe the bird will not, if we don't protect them to the ultimate, then maybe they're not, it's just going to keep going away. So maybe that's just an avenue that we could look at, compare to other states that have enacted and put this into play.
We started to pursue that avenue. We did have a consultation with the consultant that did the Habitat Conservation Plan in Massachusetts. It was going to be about $1.3 million, and it would be 3+ years or up to 4 years of work before it would possibly be implemented. And there was no guarantee that it would work here. And then we looked at a larger area. East Hampton was brought in, and Southampton, and we also were working on Mecox and Sag. So that we've gotten to the point now where we're just going to try to do the plan for Mecox and Sag, the Habitat Conservation Plan, because that's an environmental one. It's a lot easier. It's a lot less expensive, and it could be done in much more expedient fashion. But as far as recreational beach driving, I believe the county's taken that task on for them to do it in other areas on the coastline here. It's something that the village, being that they're the property owner, would be inherent on them to do. Not so much the trustees. Would be like a party that would come along with it. We have an easement, they have ownership, so it's a plan. I mean, I don't know how or if the village would be interested in doing it, because they would probably brunt the cost of the whole plan. I know it's a federal plan, and I had mentioned to the village trustees and the mayor that maybe we should look into some kind of federal grant, being that it's a federal endangered species. I believe Trustee President Horowitz has had conversations with Nick Lyota's office asking for some funding, seed money to start looking into if the Habitat Conservation Plan would actually work here, to get a consultant to do the work for us initially, to figure out the costs and everything. So there's a lot that goes into it, but we have been actively pursuing this.
Right.
And then COVID happened, and
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I'm not here saying what have you done. I'm just here to say, like, where is that a good idea?
These are questions you're posing to us.
Right.
And we had a lot of people in the audience, people in our audience at the previous meeting that would have answers to those questions after we consult with them and discuss with our board to see the avenue that we want to pursue. Then we'll reach back to the public with some information.
So a lot of it is about funding, so that, which is completely understandable. So if there were enough, like if wildlife, I absolutely have to commend you and thank you for standing up as wildlife and saying you understand the point of view and don't see us as people who want to attack the piping plover, because that's not at all what we're trying to suggest in any way, shape, or form. So I applaud you.
Can you just
speaking.
please address the
Sorry, I
board?
just wanted to say, I
minutes
applaud. Okay,
Yeah.
so-
We're trying to help you here, but we gotta.
So I'm
remain
sorry,
some
but
decorum,
thank you
please.
very much for doing that. So if there were agencies or different groups that could come together and say, look, we want to be involved in this with, we have funding, we want to jump on board, we want to be part of the application because it's a permit. So you're filing a permit. Let's say you have to do the checklist for the permit. So you guys know what that is. DEC has it on their website. We would look at that checklist, maybe take a habitat plan from Massachusetts and look at some of their mitigation process and say, hey, you know what, that might work for us. I'm trying to go really fast. Put all those pieces into play and then actually put it into action. I don't see why it wouldn't be a good idea. Have we ever filed a permit for the take before on any species in Southampton?
I don't think anybody in the state has really.
It's like anything we can
No. It's
a groundbreaking process.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very complex
yeah, we're
issue.
tiptoeing
Step one is this: we had meetings with everybody, every regulatory authority here today, right? So that the public could see some and get some information, but then we could drill down further. It's no secret there's litigation that's involved in this as well.
Right.
So you have to understand that this is not the only threat to your or our beaches.
Right.
Okay. So these things have to be handled very delicately.
But for litigation that's taking place, I
very
would
carefully.
see this as a stepping stone,
Let's
as a
not-
protection.
We don't even want to discuss
That's all I would see it
litigation.
as.
We're not going to discuss litigation.
Yeah, I don't
The
want
the bottom line is that we're aware of all this, and we're
Right.
trying to not run afoul of federal law, be respectful to the shared resource. We understand what everybody wants to do. We're in this rock and a hard place situation. Mother Nature's pounding away at our beaches with erosion and taking a lot of it away to the west of our Shinnecock Inlet. We're fully aware of what is going on, and we're trying to balance this as best as we possibly can under very difficult circumstances for this historical board that is sitting on easements that date back to the 1600s to protect us all from being able to do this. So, rest assured, it does raise a lot of anxiety because it is a tradition that we all hold near and dear, but we have to respect federal law. We have to not run afoul of it. We have to, recommend that the staff has done a fabulous job in making this happen. Our numbers have been good. Other areas have not been so good, and we're doing the best we can. Everything that you've discussed, we've already been over. I have had conversations with the congressman relative to what I call a federal unfunded mandate, and I believe that there is a federal nexus, and this would be helpful to the community for the survival of the bird and for the representation of the fact this is part of our tradition. It's our economic engine, our beaches. So, if people can see it, our way and work with us, perhaps we can get somewhere. It requires a lot of finesse. We have been going through these steps. Sometimes it's not fast enough. To Trustee Marin's point, yeah, it would be good to get these birds fledged as quickly as possible and get on the beach. This is the latest it's been in the last 5 years, and there's reasons for it. And I think it works by education and it works by cooperation. If we don't all do what our job is, okay, I'm confident that this board and its staff is doing its job. The public can help too. Keep the dog on a leash. Don't tear the fences down, as Trustee Marin said. Have respect for the fact this is a federal law. People like to say, well, they're just guidelines. Time out. They're guidelines that help you not run afoul of federal law. It's a law. So we need to abide by it. Nobody here wants criminal prosecution, and we have to work with all these other regulatory authorities on other projects throughout the township. So everybody has to have a mutual respect so that we're all successful. So your commentary is helpful. Your ideas are all helpful. And it's great because a lot of us are all on the same wavelength. And I really feel that the town trustees have done such a good job with this program that if there is something called the benefit of the doubt where we need some flexibility to manage something without spending $1.3 million for a permit, I think we have demonstrated the ability to, like Franny Adamczewski's point, if there's some other area that we could open up that would work out. I think we've demonstrated our ability to manage that. Folks just have to kind of see it our way and let us do our job and manage it. And I think it all works out.
Okay,
Good.
I
So,
appreciate that.
appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anybody else that wanted to address the board for anything? It doesn't have to be on this subject, by the way, folks. There may be some other subject that you need to address the board on, because I'm gonna move on from public portion and get down to the agenda items that we have today. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to close public portion then.
Second.
Second, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to the, thank you for attending, folks. Application for permits. I have trustee resolution 2024-231, application of Joseph and Renee Spano, 21A West End Avenue, East Quogue, tax map 900-360-1-13.2. Recommend its approval.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, trustee resolution 2024-232. This is application of Blue Turtles Incorporated, 281 Daniels Lane, Village of Sagaponic. We spoke with this last work session. Second on it.
I'll second it.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 223-24. This is the application of Money Patriot Road, LLC. It's a grand 900-75-2-22.
I'll give you a second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
I've got trustee resolution 2024-234, application of Susan and Alan Wurzel at 9 Duck Point Road in Remsenburg, New York. Could I get a second on this, please?
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. I got another one. Trustee resolution 2024-235, application of Jason and Nancy Goslin at 49 Old West Hampton Road, Northampton, New York. On Wildwood.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye. This is me too. Trustee resolution 2024-226, denial of 8 new fish trap bike location applications of Gregory Verity on the Peconic River. Can I get a second for this, please?
Second it.
Seconded, trustee Marin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we have 2024-236, resolution granting the fifth appraiser's beach driving permits.
I'll second
Seconded,
that.
trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
2024-237. This is authorize the opening of Mecox at Sagaponic.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye. Chip, you were expecting to open it in the near future? Mecox?
Yeah, I mean, we could discuss it. Let's post it.
Okay.
Yep.
Trustee resolution 2024-238, authorize expenditure for a Bobcat 500 HR service for the 2007 Bobcat S185 and the 2017 Bobcat T650. I recommend its approval. Need a second?
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Trustee resolution 2024-239, recall and amend resolution 2024, Trust 9, authorizing retaining legal service by Sokoloff Stern LLP. I need a second on this.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Parsons, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2024-240, recall and amend resolution 2023 TRUS 330, set trustees meeting and work session dates. Resolved that the trustees resolution 2023 TRUS 330 is hereby recalled and amended by adding a meeting on Tuesday, October 15th, highlighted below.
I'll second that.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye. Trustee resolution 2024-241, adopt trustees 2025 budget process and schedule. As read Monday, September 23rd, 2024, the trustees prepare and adopt trustees' proposed 2025 budget and submit the proposed 2025 budget to the town budget officer. Oh, wait, I'm not done yet.
Oh, sorry.
All right, there's a Monday, October 7th, 2024. The notice of hearing details the trustees' proposed 2025 budget and or published and posted at least 5 days in advance in the public hearing on the trustees' proposed 2025 budget by publication, by posting the website and posting in the town clerk's signboard. Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, public hearing on the trustees' proposed 2025 budget. Closed public hearing. Monday, November 4, 2025, the trustees' 2025 annual budget must be adopted and or before Monday, November 4th, 2024, and on or before Tuesday, November 6, 2024. The trustees' secretaries delivers 2 certified copies of the final trustees' 2025 budget to the town clerks and the town budget officer. The trustees' 2025 annual budget is affixed to the town budget without changes and presented to the town supervisor to the county. I need a second on that.
Seconded, trustee McLaughlin. All in favor?
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2024-242, warrant number 14, for $16,638.38. Check register read as Be Ready Fishburne Hatter, $2,625. Constructs LLC, $181.75. M Financial Services, $3,828.17. Alpha Card Systems, $3,374.76. Inner Science, $135. Joseph R. Lobato, $2,500. New York State Department of Environmental, $300. James E. Olivo for $3,406.25. PSEGLI, $98.56. And WB Mason for $188.89 for a total of $16,638.38. I recommend its approval. A second.
Second that, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have trustee resolution 2024-243. Resolution authorized president to sign a letter of authorization for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers survey. Board of trustees here authorize the president to sign a letter to use the trustee boat ramps for the purposes of conducting surveys in the town of Southampton. I'll second. Seconded, trustee McLaughlin, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussions?
No
We need it.
walk-ons?
Hmm?
No walk-ons?
I do not have any walk-ons. I do know, I think special counsel wanted 2 minutes of exec, or are we gonna?
Well,
Yeah, I've got quickly just on MECOX. I just kind of want you guys to chime in on this one. So I'm about a half a mark from the trigger. We got a pretty good weather window coming up, with it being calm. I don't know if you guys want to roll the. I mean, we don't really have a lot of rain in the forecast. I don't know if you want to roll the dice and play it out for another couple of weeks, or do you want to hit it while it's calm?
Is it at trigger or not at trigger?
It's half a mark from trigger, which
High,
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
which is 2 inches.
Yeah.
What do you want to do, Joe?
Rainy season's coming.
I mean, you're leaving soon, right? Well, didn't you say you're going away? I mean, we need a 7 day.
I was gone the last 2 days.
Okay, so but we need a 7 day heads. We
We
need
got
to
to
give
do
them
a,
a heads
we
up
got
for
to
the
do a red
knot.
knot survey
So you got some
within
time.
7 days of the opening. So that's all we have to do. We don't have to have monitors down there.
Yeah,
now.
it's
That's
time. It's
September
nice to
1st,
open
so.
up when you have a 2 foot forecast.
The wind's been out of the north too a bit.
It's going to be northwest tomorrow. I'm sure I can't get Matt in line for tomorrow, and then it's going to be southwest in and out, but nothing crazy.
I think rain's coming in maybe mid-month.
Yeah, I mean, we have no systems in the tropics right now, and that's the one I don't want to open during, with a hurricane swell. I'd prefer to save our money and have this thing kind of close up in a nice slow easterly and save ourselves, keep a nice low bay.
You passed the resolution, let's take a look at it. Let's just watch it over the next.
Next week, every day it's going to be east winds 10 to 15 miles an hour.
So we really don't want to open up into that.
No, if you're going to open it, I would try to shoot for Wednesday, Thursday of this week seems to be the best.
Oh, for this week, but you said
Yeah, but
next week is
next
Easter.
next week is a whole entire week
I
of
don't want
Easter.
to open up it. Let's roll the dice.
Yeah, well, if we open it up during an easterly wind, it'll close up immediately, and then we're gonna be right back to square one.
Let's just wait till after the easterly and.
Yeah.
Wait till after the Easterly, that way it doesn't shut down.
Well, there's a whole week of that, and it doesn't
Yeah.
work
Makes
well.
no
You're not at your trigger mark anyway, so. Anybody else?
The three proposals for the fish ladder at Mill Creek.
Yeah, I've looked into each one of them. I've read all of them.
Yeah.
I was very. I think you, James, and I should sit down.
Okay.
It's a contract discussion.
Yeah, a contracts decision and go over it, and then we can't really do it in public forum. But
No.
I'd like the three of us, and then we have to rope in one other person.
Yeah, Nick Jimenez is also going to review it. He's the assistant town engineer.
So I
he
think-
also will recommend as well. He'll fill out the same sheets as you two will.
Yep.
Yeah.
With how you rate.
I'd like to fill
each
out
one.
the sheets. There's a threesome.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
then-
That's why I gave it to you, handed it off. James handed it off to
Yeah.
me, so.
Yeah, but I'm ready to roll.
Okay.
I've read through all of them.
Okay, so have I. Good.
Yeah.
So this week, let's get together and.
Alright.
We've got a 2-minute exec, right? Anything else in the public session before we go to exec session? You good? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting and.
Can I ask a question? I know that it's not
Please.
public, but it's about MECOX. Sorry, Kristen White. What about the height of Mill Pond? Mill Pond's pretty high right now. Mill Pond feeds into MECOX.
No, I understand, but there's.
We know that, but it's, we haven't hit the
that could be a different issue, Kristen. Thank you for.
Okay.
Because it's a lot higher than MECOX. It's not going to be the MECOX is not going to change the height of Mill Pond. It's going to be the boards.
But I mean, do you guys do the board lifting, or is that under the mill's discretion?
It's kind of the mill, but we haven't been turning the wheel for eons. So if I'm glad you brought. If you think the pond is too high, it's definitely a topic of discussion.
It's high. It's not touching the docks yet, but it's high.
It could be something as simple as branches and stuff blocking the
Right.
outflow
Yeah, exactly.
where the and we'll have marine maintenance look at
Take
it.
a look.
Yeah.
That's probably what it is.
So thank you for taking that to me.
That happens.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so motion to adjourn and go into exec.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, 2 minutes.